There is a truth that brings many parents to tears. You spend your whole life loving, nurturing, and sacrificing for your children, only to one day realize that they no longer respect you. They ignore your advice, dismiss your opinions, and even treat you like a burden. And that deeply hurts. If you're feeling like your children no longer value you as they once did, don't be quick to blame, don't get angry, and don't try to remind them of all you've done for them. Because the more you do that, the more likely you are to be left behind in your own family. Instead, try a different approach, calmer, wiser, and more composed. Today, I'll share with you 6 powerful yet simple actions to regain your children's respect, without arguing, pleading, or demanding. What you're about to hear may surprise you, but if you stay with me until the end of the video, you'll understand how to once again become the kind of parent your children look up to. If you care about your health, peace of mind, and quality of life in your later years, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on videos like this. And if you're still watching, comment "Yes" to let me know you're with me. First action: stop seeking approval from your children. Many parents, especially as they enter their later years, start doing everything to please their children. You're always ready to change plans to accommodate them, agreeing even when you don't want to, and staying silent when you're hurt, all just to avoid upsetting them. You believe that if you try hard enough, your children will see your heart and respond with respect. But sadly, the more you try to please, the more you lose your own value in their eyes. Respect doesn't come from sacrifice, it comes from how you respect yourself. When you're always humble, always stepping back, always accepting, you're teaching your children that your feelings don't matter. I remember Mrs. Linda, a woman who was once very independent and strong, but after she retired, she began letting her children decide everything. Schedules, habits, even her own opinions were pushed aside. At first, she thought simply, as long as the family is at peace. But the price was the quiet and growing hurt inside her. Respect doesn't come from silence or sacrifice. It comes from daring to say no when necessary, daring to speak up when you're being dismissed, and daring to live according to your own values. When you start respecting yourself, you'll be amazed at how your children's view of you will slowly change. Second action: don't argue. Lead by example. When your children start ignoring your advice, interrupting you, or even showing disrespect, many parents' first reaction is to argue. You want to remind them, to prove that you still deserve to be listened to. But you know what? Arguing never brings respect. It only deepens the gap. Have you ever truly earned someone's respect by raising your voice in an argument? I haven't. Respect doesn't come from words, but from how you present yourself, from your demeanor, your calmness, and how you maintain your dignity in every situation. I once knew Mr. Richard, a retired teacher who spent his life teaching generations of students. But at home, his children ignored his opinions and even mocked him when he offered advice. At first, he reacted strongly, trying to force his children to listen. But the more he argued, the worse the relationship became. Until one day, he changed. No more arguing, just listening, and responding with a calm, measured voice. He no longer needed to prove anything, because his demeanor spoke volumes. And then, the miracle happened. His children started listening. Not because they were forced, but because they saw the strength, the calm, and the dignity in their father that they had previously overlooked. If your children don't respect you, don't fight to get it back. Become a model for respect. And then, you won't have to demand it. You'll receive it. Third action: withdraw emotional dependence. One of the hardest lessons as we enter our later years is accepting that we cannot rely on our children to fill our emotional needs. You may love them with all your heart, hope they care, respect, and respond to you. But the more you show that you need that, the more vulnerable you become. People, even children, only respect those who stand strong on their own feet. When you always need your children to call, always the one to text first, or feel disappointed if they don't visit, you unintentionally create pressure. And instead of feeling loved, they feel tired, even annoyed. Because in their eyes, you're no longer the strong parent you once were, but someone who depends too much on the attention of others. I remember Mrs. Judith, a single mother full of strength. She spent her life dedicating herself to her 2 children, sacrificing without complaint. But when her children grew up and became busy with their own lives, she suddenly felt empty. Every evening, she waited for the phone to ring. Every morning, she texted first. The more proactive she was, the more she was ignored. Until one day, she decided to stop. No more long phone calls. She started practicing yoga, learning to paint, and traveling with friends. And then, it was her children who began calling her first. When you no longer depend on your children to feel valuable, that's when you'll truly be seen and appreciated. Live for yourself first, and then others will come to you, not out of obligation, but because they truly want to. 4th action: set boundaries and stand firm. One of the reasons children lose respect for their parents is because parents allow it to happen. Maybe you stay silent when they interrupt you. Perhaps you humble yourself when your opinion is dismissed. Maybe you keep giving, even though your heart is full of pain. Not because you're weak, but because you love your children. But love doesn't mean accepting disrespect. People, especially family, will always treat you the way you allow them to. If you don't set boundaries, no one knows when they've gone too far. And if you don't respond when they cross the line, they'll think it's normal. I remember Mr. Walter, a man who once ran a company but couldn't maintain control in his own home. His son often interrupted him, and his daughter criticized his lifestyle. At first, he stayed silent, but gradually, he felt himself disappearing from his own life. And then, he changed. The next time he was interrupted, he calmly said, "When you're ready to listen, I'll continue." When criticized, he responded, "You don't have to agree with me, but I expect respect." And when boundaries were tested again, he quietly walked away from unhealthy conversations. The result? Respect slowly returned. If this resonates with you, comment 4 to let me know you're still watching and with us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button to continue receiving meaningful content like this. You deserve to be heard and to be respected. 5th action: don't keep giving when you're not appreciated. One of the quickest ways to lose respect from your children is to keep giving without being acknowledged. You give your time, your energy, your help, even sacrifice your own needs, hoping that your children will understand your heart. But instead of gratitude, sometimes all you get is indifference, or worse, endless demands. The truth is, when you keep giving without appreciation, you're not nurturing affection. You're nurturing contempt. Because when something becomes expected, it's no longer valued. I once knew Mr. Peter, a devoted father, always ready to help his children, from money matters to home repairs. Whenever they called, he would be there. But when he needed help, no one showed up. Once, when he was sick, he called his children and received this response: "Dad, you can call medical services. We're busy." His heart broke. And from then on, he stopped volunteering to do everything. He only helped when asked politely. And he started saying no when he felt disrespected. At first, his children were upset, even blaming him, but gradually, they began to realize his generosity wasn't an obligation. It was a gift, and gifts should be appreciated. If you've ever felt like you're giving too much and receiving too little, comment 5 to let me know you're listening and relating. And if you're looking for positive reminders to live up to your own worth, don't forget to hit subscribe. You are not a shadow in anyone's life. 6th action: build a fulfilling life that doesn't revolve around your children. You've spent your whole life raising, worrying, and loving your children. But at some point, when they grow up, the best thing you can do is stop revolving your life around them. It may sound paradoxical, but it's the truth. When you make your happiness depend on your children's attention, you unknowingly place a burden on them. And sometimes, that burden makes them want to move away, rather than come closer. I once knew Mrs. Elaine, a 75-year-old widow, kind and deeply loving towards her children. After her husband passed away, she devoted all her time to cooking meals, giving advice on work and family matters. Every day, she called to check in. She thought she was showing care, but her children felt controlled. The calls grew shorter, the visits became fewer. And then, a long silence followed with no reason, until Elaine changed. She signed up for dance classes, joined a book club, and started traveling with old friends. She stopped calling first, and the miracle happened. Her children began to reach out to her again. They became curious about her life, where she was going, what she was doing. In their eyes, she was no longer the mother waiting for affection, but a vibrant, admirable woman, worthy of respect. If you've ever lost yourself in the name of love, try putting your life back at the center. Happiness doesn't come from holding on to someone. It comes from living true to your own values and passions. If you're still watching until now, comment 6 to let me know you're with me. And don't forget to subscribe if you believe that older people deserve to live a colorful life, not just exist in the role of mother or father. Closing thoughts. Respect doesn't come from demands, but from how you live. If your children have ever made you feel small, unheard, or worse, as if you're no longer important, I want you to remember this: you are not alone, and you are not hopeless. Respect is not something you can force. You can't make someone love or respect you just by scolding them or sacrificing yourself. But you can inspire respect by how you live every day. Don't chase approval. Stand firm in your self-respect. Don't argue to be right. Stay silent when needed, and let your dignity speak. Don't let your emotions depend on others. Be the one in charge of your own life. And most importantly, don't keep giving unconditionally forever. Because generosity that's not appreciated is just easy exploitation. Most importantly, live a life worth living, not just for your children, but for yourself. When you live with joy, with purpose, with connections beyond your family, you'll become an independent, admirable person, and naturally, deserving of respect. If you do these things, the miracle will come. Your children will no longer see you as someone who's always waiting, but as someone who inspires. Not a burden, but a foundation. Not a past, but a present full of value. Thank you for watching until the very end. If you found this video meaningful, share it with a friend who needs to hear these words, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment sharing the point that resonated most with you. We read every line of your comments because you are the motivation that keeps us spreading the value of life for the elderly community. See you in the next video. And don't forget, you're not aging, you're growing in style.